Previously on D&D Kinda.
All is returning. His agents of darkness have begun to scour the earth for the bearers of the ancient seals that banished him. As the 9 seals were crafted, so his power diminished.
It moves, and Benedict raises slowly to investigate. There they stood, 3 creatures, not human. With silver eyes they shifted, razor-sharp claws glistened in the light, blood dripped from its fingertips.
You see this half-orc making a move, and he is going right for Topher.
I want to swoop down in front of him and change back into my druid shape.
As he swoops down, I grab Topher and Bartholonude and wheel them around and tell them, get ready.
So as you land, you see that this is a half-orc.
The half-orc, he's gone. He gave this to me, and he hands you a note. And it says, to whom it may concern, you can find me at the Brandy's Main.
So, I talked to this orc inside. He would like for us to go with him. This key is to the Chamber of Seals that him and Francis shared together.
So the orc walks out of the bar. He motions to you all and says, we should not waste any time. Let us go.
Who is Vyswine speaking with?
You don't recognize them.
I'm afraid that I might.
So Vyswine turns back around and sees you and says, Bartholonude, there have been attacks in the border forest. I wish things had been different, Bartholonude. I am truly sorry. You're a brother to me.
Let us be examples for all dragonkind that regardless of our tone of skin, we are all of the same family.
Our Golden Clan is here. They have invited me home to help with what is going on, but not as a member of the clan. As their leader, I must go, or many more may die. You must understand. His arm falls out of yours, and he turns around and says, good luck, brother. I will see you again soon. So you guys are following this half-orc through Neverwinter, and it is nighttime. It's probably around 9:30, 10-ish o'clock. People are starting to go inside, and as you guys are moving through the town, you guys notice that there's just a general dark aura. Everyone's talking about one thing or the other that has happened that's bad. You guys are picking up on a few of the conversations about the nobleman having been sick, about people going missing and dying in the night, and people were scared to even go to sleep. So it's just a general dark tone that you guys are kind of moving through, and no one's really talking or saying anything as you guys are moving. You guys notice that the plant life all around you guys is dying, or the trees are overgrown, taking all the nutrients from the ground from when the river heated up with too much of the magical power flowing from the river. Neverwinter is just in a strange state, and you guys all live there. You guys notice this, immediately. It's only been days since you guys had been here, so
is there anything that we overhear about any more kind of sightings of either, the monsters that Benedict saw, or the dragon that crushed my house? Is there anything that we're hearing that since then that people would be talking about, kind of more recent than the past couple days? If they've still seen them every night? Anything that we're hearing about that?
Make a perception check. Actually, all of you guys.
I am not rolling that fucking skull
I'm going to
splitter.
roll something.
19.
21.
I rolled a 10.
13.
All right, so Benedict and Hamilton are walking together, and there is
Brother.
there is a woman who's sitting on her doorstep, and she is speaking to another person that you guys kind of perceive to be her husband. They're both elvish individuals, and they're just kind of sitting on their doorsteps, and they're crying. Yeah. And you guys can hear them talking about their missing child. And what happened, and they don't know. It's gone, and they're just talking about where it could be and the things that they've done.
Pretty solid parents.
Am I suggesting a side quest? Are these people that we talk to and we pick up a quest and we go find our kid? And
Do they have a small light over their head?
Yeah. Is there an exclamation point involved?
Hey, adventurer, please come quick.
I quit.
It's not a side quest. Let's go.
But no, based on what you guys hear, it seems to be that you guys hear other people as well talking about how people have went missing, but never multitudes of individuals. It's always just been like one person. And
Is there like a common theme?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
I mean,
Of
I
the
don't know.
people
Is
who-
there?
I don't know. We rolled the perception checks. You tell us.
How would you get a common theme from all the individuals going missing from one perception check around one?
Well,
set
no,
of
like
people?
if, say, we're walking through and we're hearing people talking about this, like, is it all children or is it all a specific, like, age group or what? Or is it
So,
just like there's like an elder,
from,
like just
from
like
what you
random
guys
people?
have heard, this is the first group of people who you have come across that has had this happen directly to them. Everyone else has been talking about the happenings around the town and how, they want to get home because they're worried about what could happen to them because people have gone missing. And then you hear Benedict and Hamilton overhear this one family, it seems, missing their child. So you guys going to continue following the half-orc through town?
Yeah, I mean,
No, we're
that's-
going to ask the people what happened with their kid.
Okay. You're just going to kind of stroll up?
Well, no, I'm in Topher's backpack still, I assume.
What if I turned into a bunny? Bartholonude handed me to these people, and they were just holding a bunny, and then I just warped back to myself. What happened to your kid?
Topher, did you hear that?
Did I hear what?
That woman and man over there. The elves.
No.
They said that they lost their child recently. It might have something to do with what happened to us.
That's sad. I changed my Facebook picture to support it.
I sit here and fuck off, and everybody's like, "You're never gonna do anything." And then Topher's over here just like, "Well, I got on Facebook and I'm dead propane. Whoa, Bill Clinton."
Would you like to speak with him?
I think maybe we should.
Okay. So I walk over towards the couple
Okay.
and crouch down kind of in front of them. Because they're sitting on the steps, right? You said?
Yeah, they're sitting on the front steps. It's dark out. They have a torch that's hanging kind of on the outside of their house. They have like a one-story house. There's a window, kind of like a pretty little humble abode. They have a wooden door. It's kind of like a mud base home, wooden roof. Nice little town in the house.
I was
There's
just
a
curious
wooden-
if they're sitting on the steps. Like, I don't
Yeah,
care
that's
about their
what-
house.
But there's just to set the scene for the surroundings here.
I got it.
There's like two steps that lead up to their door, and they're sitting on the top step right in front of the door.
Okay, so I'm going to walk over to them because I didn't hear what they said. I just kind of know what Hamilton whispered in my ear. So essentially, and I'm going to crouch down so he can speak with him.
Okay.
Excuse me, folks. I heard you say something about a missing child.
The woman just immediately bursts into tears, and the man looks up at you, and he just kind of nods and then kind of hangs his head beside his wife.
If you don't mind me asking, how long has your child been missing?
He kind of looks back up at you and says, it's been every day someone has been taken from this town. There's hundreds, thousands of people here in Neverwinter. It's the largest city in Faerun. How could this happen to our child of everyone here? It is not fair. They will continue to take them.
That really didn't answer my question, but who's they?
Wish we knew. We've brought this to the nobleman's attention, but he's sick.
Ah, he's dead. I mean, he's sick. Yeah, sick.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna go. And I'll walk over to Bartholonude.
So, as you are in the middle of this conversation with these individuals, the half-orc that has been escorting you guys back has caught notice of the fact that you guys have stopped to talk to these individuals, and he kind of walks up and he leans down in front of the elven couple, and he says, "We're sorry for wasting your time. We wish you luck in finding your child. We're so sorry this happened to you." And he kind of pulls at Topher and Hamilton and kind of pulls you guys back on the path.
Excuse me, dollar store Conor McGregor. I'm having a conversation here.
So,
So as the party starts to get back on track, they kind of walk away from the porch, and as they do, I just walk up to the porch and kneel down in front of them, and I look down toward the ground, and I hold my holy symbol and just internally say a quick prayer. I stand up and lock eyes with the husband and just kind of give him a nod and turn and walk away.
okay. So as you guys all kind of like reconvene in the path that you guys are walking, this half-orc you guys are following turns around and says, "Every day, the last week, someone has been taken in the night. It's always either a child or a young adult of various race. Doesn't matter, it seems. They're gone, never to be seen again. No one knows who's doing this, where they're going, or why. This is definitely the work of something evil. The night that we all saw the thing in the sky, the night that there was the dragon in Neverwinter, ever since that night, there has been someone who has been taken." And he continues to walk.
So, you say that people have been gone missing since the first night that these creatures arrived. Have you noticed anything suspicious with the nobleman? Have you seen him?
I know the nobleman is dead. That man in that tower is not the nobleman. I was trying to tell you guys that before you made it so I couldn't talk to you at all.
Well, I mean,
Sorry.
well, you kind of made that happen yourself. I can't apologize for that.
Yeah,
You can't charge an asterisk asking.
We
for
did kind of
keys.
think that you were going to attack us.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
yeah.
It's cool now. You're cool.
I'm very possessive over the things that I keep.
So he kind of turns around and he says,
Hamilton blushes.
says, "It was not until
Except for that
after my assault where I received word that you were friendly. I apologize for my actions, and I would assume that we are beyond that."
Hey, man, everything's all good now. Yeah, I'm just trying to.
We're not just beyond that. We're D&D beyond that.
Fuck. Now that we can call ourselves allies, it would be extremely helpful to have your name.
As he's walking, he kind of like turns around, and where you guys are headed, it's actually back towards the eastern edge of the city, and the moon is kind of falling over the mountains in the distance, and it just catches his face just right. And when he turns around, you notice that he has like a cut over one of his eyes, and one of his eyes is kind of like glazed over. And whenever he turns around and you see that cut, he tells you, "My name is Scar." So as you guys are walking, the dirt path kind of takes a sharp right and kind of veers up in between two small grassy hills. and up on kind of like a plateau, and there is a house in the distance there. And as you guys see this, Scar keeps talking. No one has called me by my real name in many years. When I found Francis, or I should say when Francis found me, I was lost within the throes of the cult, a follower of Baal.
I'm sorry.
I know how it sounds. Life is long behind me, and that is why I've changed my name. I've taken a whole new identity, and I have dedicated my life to helping Francis and turning this around. That's why she chose me to be her companion. Because the things that I know and the things that I can help you with. And that is what I'm here to show you.
I'm still really leery about him. Like, yeah, he knows Francis. We've had our talk. He's taking us to his place. He knows about Baal. He's worshipped Baal or whatever.
I cast Divine Sense on him.
So whenever you do this, you get an overwhelming sense of good that flows off of the character Bartholonude.
Comforting.
There is no.
So Scar was kind of talking, and he said that he used to worship Baal, and right as he did that, Benedict was like, you could tell, he wasn't certain that he would have changed, and then that's when I cast Divine Sense, and I get the feeling of good, and right as I get that feeling of good, I just kind of say to everybody, he speaks the truth. I detect nothing evil about him.
And so he turns around and says, this is not my first encounter with the small one and his brother. They have killed many of the individuals that I have been with in my past.
You're damn right.
People I used to call my friends, but now I realize the error of their ways.
So you...
Small one?
And he points right at you.
I mean, bro, come on.
Very rude.
Don't let that be of too much of offense. I've seen you and your brother in action. It is an honor to be fighting by your side.
Yeah, he knows. Don't worry about it.
So as he turns, as he says this, you guys have approached the house, and there's a lock on the door, and he turns around to you, Topher, and just kind of puts his hand out and kind of motions towards the lock and motions towards your keys.
I go up to the door, and I pull out the keys that are still attached to my belt. I have them in my right hand, and I stop, and I kind of cock my head back towards Hamilton and say, so you have fought with him before?
I don't know.
I just kind of nod my head, and I go up to the door, and I pull out, I've got the keys in my hand, and I take the first key and try to unlock the door.
Okay.
The one that's not imbued with magic.
Okay, so where this house sits, it's on the northeastern part of town, like I've stated. It rests right near the castle border, like it's that, or the town border, because it's that far up northeastern. The house sits relatively quiet in a solitude corner of Neverwinter. That city wall can actually be seen behind the house. It sits up on a plateau, like I kind of said earlier, and it slopes slightly downhill behind the house, giving the house a slight view of the lands in the distance. It's a straw-topped house, but the sides and the walls and everything, it's made completely of stone. It appears small from the outside, one, maybe 2 or 3 small rooms, enough for Francis to be comfortable in. Not even this individual, because it is really, really small. So the key works to open the door, and it flies open.
When the door flew open, did Scar have any change in gesture?
Nope.
So it's not like he cast thaumaturgy or something on it?
No, it's he knew, he's very familiar with this key, with this set of keys and the doors and the things that they're able to do. So, or so you guys think.
So I unlock the door, and I kind of, is it a push or a pull?
It's a push.
Push. I push it open.
Okay.
And I step back, and I'm not going to just walk into his house. So I want to let him kind of invite us in.
So he does. He extends his hand forward and says, "After you all." And you guys walk in?
Yeah. I go ahead and walk past him and go inside.
And as I'm walking past him, I give him a nod.
Okay. So the entryway to this is not sitting very high off the ground. The door is only about 5.5 feet tall. This is a house for a dwarf. Like
Perfect
it's a,
for me.
So now the ceilings on the inside are relatively tall.
This is Francis's house.
So the entry of this house, you go into a small kitchen area. There's a nice hard stone floor. There's a fireplace surrounded by stone that's kind of lifted up off the floor. There's a pot with some stirring sticks in it, and next to that, a roasting spit, where you guys can kind of assume where Francis probably cooks. There's a small table with 2 chairs, and then there's a stone chamber where it appears that food is stored slightly underground to keep it from spoiling too quickly. So there is there's a small hallway that has 2 rooms that kind of branch off at the end of the hallway.
So I kind of walk in, and I walk into this kitchen, and I just kind of look around. What sort of aromas do I smell?
Go ahead and give me a an investigation, I guess, maybe.
Okay. I got a 7. So what do I smell?
You smell the disappointment as the fact you rolled a 7.
Awesome.
No, it just smells a little bit different than it does outside. Like it
smells like inside.
It smells. You smell the same aromas of, grass and things like that, but it's just not as strong.
So after I kind of get that sense, I just want to ask, Scar, do you live here?
I live here with Francis, but not here per se. I have much left to show you.
I'm going to be honest with you, Scar, that doesn't make any sense. But on a different note, I have a question I've been wanting to ask you. Do you have any idea why Lokar would want Francis?
Francis is the most powerful wizard I know. I can only assume that's why. You've seen the things she can do.
Well, yeah, Lokar's a tough dude. Like he captured her, but why would he need Francis specifically?
If I knew that, I don't know, my friend.
Well, that was no help at all.
Scar does not know that answer to that question.
Okay.
He shares very little with us, including his love.
Okay, so we're in Francis's house. He's there. I'm gonna unbuckle my belt and pull the keys off.
Oh boy.
And put my belt back on really fast because I know Hamilton's getting excited. So I'm holding the keys in my hand, and I've got my hand around the ring, and I'm holding between my thumb and my pointer finger the key that I used to unlock Francis's door. And I say, so this key unlocks Francis the front door. And then I swap it over to the other key, the magical one, and I ask him, do you know what this key is for? The one that I can feel the magic off of?
He looks at you and takes out his hand and then motions you guys to follow him as he walks down the hallway.
I follow.
You guys all follow?
Yep. I'm still leery about, yeah, he knows where Francis is at and all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. And he's probably good, but I'm still leery, I'm going to follow, but I'm going to wait till everybody else goes down.
So,
because I've got the key, I want everybody else in between me and Scar.
So we're kind of walking, and I noticed that Topher isn't kind of coming with the group as quickly as we all were. So I kind of shout ahead, and I say, Scar! And then I kind of look back at Topher as I said that. So If Scar looks back, he'll see me looking at Topher, and I want to say to Topher, can you give us some reason? And then as in the middle of that statement, I look back at Scar and I say that we should trust you.
I am about to give you all the reason to trust me that you will need. Just ask for moments more of your patience. And he continues to walk and motions you guys to keep following.
I glance kind of over my shoulder at Hamilton, and
Thought I'm on your chest.
no, I didn't spin you around.
Oh,
You're
we
on
didn't
my-
do that. Okay. Yeah.
And I want to whisper to him to where the rest of it, nobody else can hear it. Hamilton, keep an eye out. I want you prepared if anything bad happens.
I'm ready to Eldritch Blast the fuck out of this bitch.
That's what I figured. And we just continued walking down the hall. Just for reference, so we were in like the main foyer of the house,
The kitchen.
the kitchen area.
Kitchen /
And
dining
whenever
room.
he starts taking us to the other spot, like, can you explain to us like what that is? It just like a long hallway, or is it?
Yeah, it's not even a long hallway. It's just a, I don't know, probably maybe like 8 to 10 feet hallway. And at the end of it, there's a room on either side of the hallway.
Okay, so it's just like a hallway with no end, but there's a room on both sides.
Hallway with an end.
Well,
But there's a room on both.
Well,
It kind of branches
yeah.
off. Right in the left, there's a door.
Okay. He would be cornered at this point, like if anything were to happen.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
there's-
like at
yeah,
the
he's
end of
just-
the hallway
okay.
and walking down there. And when he does, he walks into the room to the right. So as you guys follow Scar into this room, you guys see that in the other room, as you guys are walking, there is a plethora of books and scrolls and things. And the room that Scar leads you into is a bedroom. And in the bedroom, there's a small chair sitting near the window, and that window looks.
As we're walking down this hallway, you said there's like a room off to the side where all these scrolls are?
There's a room to the left that has all the scrolls and the papers, and the room to the right is the room that he leads you guys into.
Okay. I want to whisper to Topher and just say, Topher, try to get a closer look at these scrolls.
So I'm at the back of everybody. I'm not behind. Can I sneak off into there to look at these? Just kind of like sidestep, like not so much like trying to sneak around, but just be like, oh, this caught my attention, so I'm just going to wander over here.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
So I want to walk over towards these scrolls and pick up some scrolls and check them out.
So before you even start to pick up any of the scrolls, you guys are just overwhelmed by the amount of different things in this room. You see scrolls and books with the symbol of Mishkal, with the symbol of Cthulhu, with symbols regarding the druid craft, symbols regarding the dragonborn of various races and colors of dragons, others regarding the high forest, regarding the magics required to sealing away gods, regarding biological blending of bloods, just so many different sciences and religions of the sort.
So it doesn't really look like he's studying any one thing in particular.
Well, it's not so much him. It's this is
Or, well,
This
Francis.
is Francis's
I'm sorry. Yeah,
house,
Francis.
There's a lot of stuff here. Yeah.
And it looks like she was studying blending of bloods. So, I mean, that might have something to do with the Dragonborns and the ultimate Dragonborn, maybe.
That would be a fairly decent assessment.
Yeah. Okay. But nothing.
It doesn't. Nothing in here screams anything that you guys wouldn't know. It just seems like,
She was kind of looking into the same type of stuff that we were.
and you guys specifically.
So she was looking into us.
All these things have some type of tie to your guys' lives. Cthulhu, the High Forest, sealing away the gods, druid craft.
So I would very much
Mishkal.
like to look at what she was studying on pertaining to Cthulhu.
Okay. As you go into the room here, it's the paper regarding Cthulhu, the books and scrolls and stuff regarding, because I mean, it's relatively large one of the ancient deities, there's a lot of text surrounding this individual. But based off, actually make a history check or religion check. Either of those will work. I think they're both actually the same.
They are not the same for me.
Are they not? Okay. Well, make a religion check since this kind of goes back, since this is your god.
It's a history check.
Just because it's an old god.
9.
9. Okay. So, and this was just kind of to base what you know as to why.
I'm sorry, that's a 12.
Okay. And like I said, this is just kind of to base to know why why Francis would have these. With the 12, you know that since, Cthulhu is one of the ancient gods, there's a lot of text out there about Cthulhu, but it is few and far between. Being one of the ancient deities, the earth has been scoured for this much information. Digging. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously I would imagine that intrigues Hamilton quite a bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So now that you said that, you haven't got your hands on it, are you?
Yeah, I want to see it. I want to look and actually like go over what it is that she was looking at.
Okay. And you're doing that from the comfort of his backpack?
Actually, at this point, Topher, might you put me down real quick so that I could look at these scrolls up close?
No.
Right. Okay. Let me get out my telescope.
I bend down and let him out of my book bag.
Okay. So when you climb out of his book bag and you start to rummage through these scrolls, are you specifically sticking to the ones regarding Cthulhu?
For now, yeah.
Okay. As you do this, you hear some footsteps and Scar walks into the room. And he's not particularly upset about the fact you guys are in here. It didn't really surprise him at all. He's relatively inviting to everything you guys are doing. He says, Francis, as well as myself and Chrysalix, have been trying to find ways that we can assist you all in sealing away Baal. The implications will be felt all over the world. Feel free to take and read what you need, but I have something I must show you as soon as we can.
How did you know about us?
Francis told me.
How did she know? We just met a couple days ago. We don't even know what we're destined for. So how do you know?
I will explain. What I have to show you will explain everything.
Topher, I think it's fair to assume from looking over these scrolls that Francis has known about us far longer than just several days.
So as you are rummaging through these...
So has he left the room, Scar?
No, he's still in the room with you guys.
Okay.
Actually, no, he's probably back to the bedroom.
Okay, so when he walks out, when he walked in and said Chrysalix, it reminds Hamilton of the conversations that he had with Chrysalix after fighting the Ultimate Dragonborn.
Okay.
And Hamilton kind of he tries to say it as nonchalantly as he can, but he doesn't even turn around. He just kind of murmurs under his breath to Topher, maybe you should look for something in these scrolls relating to you.
Why would these scrolls have any meaning to me?
Well, it seems as though that Francis was looking into every one of us, and you might learn something of your past.
I don't know if my past was important enough to write about, but I will gladly take a look.
Mainly what I'm trying to accomplish is that, I am aware that there is more to Topher than he knows. I am hoping that he finds something here that is the catalyst to kind of triggering off that cascade of information.
Okay. So as you make that statement to Topher and you go back to your readings, as you're reading over the information about Cthulhu, you are gaining some new insight. So make a history check.
18.
Okay. So as you're reading over this, there is a profound amount of information here, more than you've ever seen in your dealings with Cthulhu in the past, about establishing a connection and a leveraging the power of the ancient, one of the ancient, most ancient of old deities. And what you're reading, what you have done to establish your connection to this ancient deity does not align with what these ancient texts are saying. According to what you were reading, there is no possible way that you could be connected to Cthulhu in the way that you are.
So, like I'm connected to something other than Cthulhu, or I am like a very special case?
The books don't necessarily lend way to that. Obviously, you being Hamilton, I would imagine you're relatively confident in your abilities and what you've seen in your past and things like that.
So it's not like I've been tricked by another god. Like I'm still...
That's not what this is lending way to. It's just essentially, this is just saying, it's just a book. It just says, this is how you would establish this connection. These are the type of sacrifices. These are the type of things that you would need to be attuned to, and the things that you would need to cast your spells, and the things that would please this ancient one. But it does not align with what you know about Cthulhu. So you could take that however you want it, but kind of how that is all the information you're getting from this. It obviously goes into a great level of detail regarding many other things, but just for the sake of story, that's what you're taking from it. Because a lot of the other things the history and the types of worshipers and the types of magics and quote unquote miracles, for lack of a better term, that come from this type of deity worship.
So while I'm here, I want to also try to just briefly look and see if maybe I can find something out about my brother or Bartholonude from these texts, because I know that we saw some of the mixing of blood, which I can assume that's related to the Ultimate Dragonborn, but I don't necessarily remember hearing anything that struck me as being directly related to Benedict.
There was the Druid craft scrolls, but nothing other than that seems to be related to him. So obviously, I mean, as you're perusing through this, I'm sorry. Even though I already told Topher to be looking, like I'm looking for anything I can see about Mishkal or Topher, anything like that, because if I can find something, especially if it's something like really sensitive that I don't want him to know about right away, I'd like to keep it hidden from him, because Hamilton is kind of under the impression that Topher, there's definitely something else going on with him, and that I'm trying to not let all of this information rain down on him all at one point in time. So if I can see anything that's like groundbreaking to him that will just like shatter him, I'm probably going to try to keep that to myself and then show him later on down the road whenever we're at like a less critical point. Okay. So, just for the sake of time, because I don't want this to be like you guys are spending hours in here pouring over information. Sure. I would say that this would be something that you guys would kind of harvest and then look through over time. Because I'm imagining everything after, and I guess I'll kind of leave this up to you. After reading that small bit about Cthulhu, I would imagine that would kind of open the door to the fact that you're not as in tune as you thought you might have been. So that would probably be like, I need to take all of this stuff. Like, is that kind of how you feel Hamilton would handle that, or do you?
Yeah, I mean, I want to take all of it no matter what, just because, I want to be able to pour over it at a later point in time where time isn't really of an issue, and I can try to extrapolate as much as I can from it. So, I would say that Hamilton, kind of yells down the hallway, Scar, would it be all right if maybe I took some of these manuscripts with us and studied them later on to try to see exactly what it was that Francis was studying and maybe try to glean some information?
So Scar says, he turns around and says, of course, feel free to take as many as you would need. However, I can assure you, leave them be until I show you what I need to show you. There are many questions. You can come back anytime. There are many questions that will just be answered if you just come with me.
So Hamilton puts down the manuscripts that he was looking at for his own personal gain, the things on Cthulhu, and he turns to Topher and says, if you want to head on, I'll meet you in just a second. I'm going to make sure that there's nothing here that I want to grab right now.
Okay. So, do you guys all kind of turn around and follow Scar? Because Scar is kind of leading you guys back into the other room.
I do.
Yeah, I guess.
So when Topher leaves, like before Hamilton walks out of the room, he just very hurriedly kind of scrambles through the papers as quickly as he can, tries to see if he can find anything at all that might be related to Topher, and if it looks like it might be, he just grabs it and just stuffs it into his satchel.
Okay. I mean, there's a good bit of stuff that could be, because there's a lot of stuff regarding Mishkal,
Right.
the High Forest, things of that nature, even sealing away gods,
Right.
things like that.
So like any of that stuff that might have to do with Topher, he just...
So your satchel's just like overflowing with books and papers and things like that.
Well, it's magical.
All right, so you kind of grab all that and you're like tripping over yourself as you're like leaving the room, following everyone, trying to like...
Papers flying in every direction.
Yeah. So as you guys go into this next room, Scar just kind of stops in the doorway, and as you guys look in, it's a bedroom. There's a large bed, bigger than what Francis would need, and this is definitely the largest room in the house. There's a nice, elegant throw rug on the floor that has a blend of some very fine tapestries and just a beautiful design. It has like a deep maroon blend, purple hue with a shadowy tone underneath. And then woven into the pattern, it mimics that of like a night sky. But it's painted to look like it was being held up by the very rug, kind of like a 3D effect. Very, very beautiful, very ornate and different for the time that you guys are in. And whenever you come near the room, like I said, Scar just kind of stops and turns around and welcomes Topher to step into the room first.
I guess I walk in.
Okay. So as you walk in, there is a shining light that pierces this rug. And there is like a circular blue light that emanates in a just complete circle around you, probably a good 5 or 6 feet wide. And Scar grabs you by the arm and kind of pulls you back, and then he puts his foot under the rug and kind of kicks it back, and you feel the key. Is it still in your hand at this point, or did you put it back on your belt? I know you said you had taken it off your belt.
No, it's still in my hand.
So the key is, it's getting warm, not hot, but warm, and you see a blue light on the floor that opens in the shape of a keyhole, and then Scar sees in your hand, sees the key, and welcomes you to put the key into the keyhole. And the reason he's doing this is because, based off your hesitancy before, you didn't want to give him the key, and he's understanding of that, but ultimately he's trying to be trustful and understanding that you are protective over this because of the mission that you guys were sent on ultimately. So he doesn't want to. He's not trying to rip these out of your hands. He's trying to get you to understand that he's not trying to do anything to hurt you. He's letting you do this yourself.
So Topher's whole mindset is like this is, great. Like, this dude he knew that this was Francis's house key. He knew where whatever this thing he's pointing me towards, he knows that is like the key that I have that's magical opens that up. And the fact that I still don't trust this guy, I don't do anything with the key. I look back at the party to kind of like get their, see if I can kind of gauge their mindset towards this to see if I should. But ultimately, my inside of me, I'm like, no, I'm not going to open this up.
I don't really understand your hesitancy. I mean, this guy hasn't done anything to you.
He hasn't. There is a door that's magically locked in Francis's house that this key unlocks. That this person who used to follow Ball knows, or that he knows what this is. I'm not going to just unlock it willy-nilly. I want the whole party to be okay with that before I do it, because we could be unlocking something that may be another fucking seal. I'm not going to unlock this door if Francis has a house that is surrounded and is protecting a seal to keep Ball. I'm not going to unlock this door just because some random half-orc tells me to.
I feel like if it was a seal, it wouldn't be just in a room of her house.
Maybe, but
Maybe not.
Or maybe you should just open it.
or maybe I should gauge the rest of the party to see how they feel.
So
Like,
Hamilton,
if I look around to see if their facial expressions were like, don't do that or do it, you know?
Hamilton sees Topher's hesitancy and, the intimacy of his knowledge as far as Chrysalix is giving us the keys and the whole spiel behind Topher and everything. Like, he totally gets it. And so he goes out to the blue keyhole on the ground and places a hand on it and tries to gauge any kind of information that he can from it.
Okay, make an Arcana check.
It's an 11.
So you know that it's a magic door that's just meant for concealing something. It's not meant for anything other than hiding.
So it's not like a cage.
It's not a cage, no. You would
Right.
know that.
It's not holding something back.
It could potentially be used for that, but not in like the sense that, I mean, you know that this type of magic is not meant to like hide a deity or a spirit. It's just to conceal, to hide.
I believe we should open it.
As do I.
Topher, I sense no reason that we can't open this. Ultimately, the decision is yours.
I'm going to kneel down next to Hamilton. Hamilton, hold out your hand.
Hashtag Hamilton opens out his hand.
I place the keys in Hamilton's hand. And I stand up and I walk out of the room.
So you're still standing over top of the keyhole?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to unlock this. And to narratively explain how I want to do this, I want to kind of focus all of my energy onto the dead space in between the key and the lock. And as I get closer, I want to try to sense whether or not anything is happening magically that I need to be worried about.
Okay. So you're kind of slowly like moving the key towards the keyhole?
Basically just trying to sense that like as these two magical items get closer to each other, is there anything changing between them that should concern me? Like any energy, any weird vibes, any spooky ghosts, anything like that.
So you don't feel anything strange between this, but I do need you to make a strength check.
That's gonna be a 4.
Okay. So as you're kind of slowly putting this key towards this keyhole, as it gets, within like a foot, it just kind of just sucks out of your hand and just flies into the keyhole, and you see this blue light shoot up just to the ceiling, and it just illuminates the entire room in this blue light in the middle of the night. And then the light disappears and there is now a hatch leading into the ground. The blue light disappeared and now lends way to the floor opening up into a stairway that leads into the ground.
Are there any markings on anything that we can see?
So there are no markings that you can see, but again, like I said, on the floor there is now a door with like a massive key ring that you can pull open, and there may be something underneath of it.
Scar, I want you to open that door. You're going first, buddy.
We need to get Topher.
He'll come.
We need to get him first.
Okay, get him.
So Scar reaches down and grabs the key, the massive like key ring, and he just kind of whips it open, and you guys see a faint glowing red light coming from this hole in the ground. And he just kind of leaps into the hole and starts to climb down.
I'll follow him.
Okay. He urges the rest of you to follow him. Please, I beg you to trust me. Just a little further.
Hamilton goes outside to Topher, where did you actually go?
I just walked. I'm not outside of the house. I'm just in like the room next to it. I just left. I didn't want to be a part of that because I didn't trust it.
So Hamilton goes to Topher and says, Topher, I too am uneasy about this. The party decided. We opened the door. There's a passageway leading downstairs, and right now Scar is leading Benedict under the house. If your concern is right, I need you with us.
You say Scar went first?
Yes, he did.
It's easy to lead somebody into a trap if you know where they're at. I will follow you down.
Topher, that's very creepy.
So we go to the hatch, whatever. Is it dark? Like
There's a faint red glow.
It's a red glow
coming from down beneath.
All right. Well, I want it to be purple, so I smack Hamilton on the back of the head and turn him, cast thaumaturgy and turn him blue.
Great.
So, that's what we do when we go down random places.
So now the whole place is glowing purple.
Yep.
And me, blue.
All right.
If I was green, I would die.
So there's a... Oh, my gosh.
Bartholonude, you coming down here, bud? Yeah.
Yes.
Sweet.
So there's a long, like a ladder downwards, and then a staircase that continues further into the ground. And as you go down, following Scar, there seems to be light that transitions from red to like a bright color that you guys can tell based off the smell of fire dissipating that it is no longer torches. But there are glowing jars that are lining the walls that are filled with some type of mystical light. So the hallway comes to an end as you guys all filter in behind Scar, and you guys are in a massive open room. The floor is a red and orange sandstone with a massive open arena floor that is pure sand. And there's one stair that rounds the entire edge of the arena, stepping down inside of it. And along the edges of the top of the stairs are 9 inlets, 9 holes in the walls. Each one contains a table with various books and drawings and maps and other various items on them. So as you guys look around, you guys kind of see what I've just explained. And when you look up, you see there is a glowing ceiling. And within it, there are balls of light that are just mystically floating around. Now, as you guys, Scar kind of stops for a moment as you guys are kind of ingesting everything that you're seeing in this room. And he walks over to directly across the room to the inlet that is directly in the middle. There are 9 of them. This one would be directly across from the entryway in the room, from the furthest point of the room from where you entered. And there's a table sitting there, and it appears that there's something on the table that's not papers and books and things of that nature. And he walks up to it and just kind of sits down at the table as you guys are standing at the entryway of the room.
D&D Kinda is brought to you by Alderwood Academy, Skull Splitter Dice, and Fantasy Sounds RPG.
RPG sounds fantasy. You fucked it up.